You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Welcome back, everyone, to more of the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou, and today I'm coming at you guys with a read and react video talking about some of the big injuries that came out of Week 1 this past Sunday. Some big names going down, some very important names going down, matter of fact. So we'll go ahead, we'll break them down, we'll talk about the injuries and what they mean for their teams going forward. So make sure you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and comment down below. How are you feeling about your team coming out of Week 1? Are any of these guys that I'm talking about someone important to your team? How are you feeling about that injury going forward? How are you feeling about your team going forward with the potential of maybe missing out on these players? We'll start things off with the big one that came out last night as Sunday Night Football was wrapping up. Dak Prescott going down with a right thumb injury. That's his throwing hand. And it was like closer towards the end of the fourth quarter during that 19-3 loss to the Buccaneers. And it does not sound like it's going to be good. You could see it from pretty much everybody within the Cowboys organization. Mike McCarthy did not look happy when he was finding out what happened to Dak as he was walking off the field at the end of the game. Jerry Jones was captured by cameras as he was walking away at the end of the game. He did not look very happy. He obviously ends up announcing to everyone that he is going to need surgery, and so it's looking like a 6 to 8 week time frame for Dak Prescott. The offense did not really look good at all last night. It was a really tough going for them against a Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense that was just kind of swarming all night long, giving them fits in the secondary against the defensive line, struggling. There was just so much to take away from offensively with the struggles over there for the Cowboys, and to lose Dak Prescott now, and Cooper Rush is going to be quarterback one, as mentioned by Jerry Jones, going forward for at least the time being until we get Dak Prescott back. Going to be a tough road here for the Dallas Cowboys. I think hopes were fairly high coming into this season, and to see the offense perform the way it did and then have Dak Prescott go down and he wasn't even able to grip the football, hence the reason why he went to go get his hand looked at, and to lose him for 6 to 8 weeks, that's roughly half the season. It's going to be a very large uphill battle for the Cowboys to keep themselves in contention, especially with the way the offense looked already, to assume that you can put any together really. I'm hoping you can put something better together than what we saw this past Sunday night, but it's going to be a rough going if Cooper Rush is QB1. I'm assuming that they might take a peek at some other options there. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo did a contract restructure to stay as the backup over there in San Francisco. I don't know how interested Dallas is in potentially moving Jimmy Garoppolo or moving for Jimmy Garoppolo, but that is something that we'll have to keep an eye on, because at this point, all cards should be on the table. If you're the Dallas Cowboys and you thought, you were a legit contender to win the NFC East, that's definitely something you have to be weighing, and you should be giving the 49ers at least a call to see what it would take to move him. Then, as far as like free agent market goes, Cam Newton's out there. I don't know if Cowboys have any interest in that. And then, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he is working for Amazon, but I don't know if he'd be willing to come back to play for Dallas. That would be an interesting thing to see. I would actually kind of like that. I think I'd be down to see Ryan Fitzpatrick come to play for 6 to 8 weeks wearing the star in his helmet. I think that would be a little bit of a fun one to see, but I'm just kind of bouncing around ideas to see, where could the Dallas Cowboys realistically go in terms of quarterback with a 6 to 8 week timeline, because again, that's like half the season. Tough loss for the Cowboys, but we'll have to see what the Cowboys do from here. It sounds like Cooper Rush is QB1 going forward. Jerry Jones himself said that, but we'll see if they stick with that plan going forward. For the Pittsburgh Steelers, TJ Watt, man, this is tough. Coming off of a massive record-tying season with the sacks last year, 22.5, reigning defensive MVP, TJ Watt has gone down, and it sounds like it's going to be a season-ending injury. Nothing is completely confirmed yet, so this might change, but based off of what it looked like from the lip reading that we were seeing from TJ Watt, it sounded like he said he tore his pec, or it looked like he said he tore his pec, and you don't think you tore your pec, you tore your pec, and if he's saying something like that, he must have felt it come off the bone. And a pec injury, I know J.J. Watt has come back from a lot in some really fast record time. The whole Watt family is, they're a bunch of, like biological freaks, I guess you could say, in terms of the way their bodies work and can repair themselves. So maybe TJ Watt sneaks in back like week 17, week 18, but A pec injury is going to be, especially if it's like a clean tear too, that is going to take an awful long time to come back from, and I just don't know if I realistically see a possibility of TJ Watt coming back, at least during the season. Maybe if there's a playoff push, he can come back within those last few weeks of the season, but if I'm being completely honest with you guys, in my opinion, I don't really see a way for him to come back. It'll definitely be a tough one. I mean, Watt was on a tear yesterday. He had a sack, he had 6 tackles, he had an interception, a couple of passes defense. Like, Watt was looking like the defensive player of the year from last year and just kind of continuing on. And it's unfortunate that, he went down with an injury so late into the game, as you're essentially working your way through the final minutes of the football game, and that's when he's going to go down with an injury like that. You hate to see it. We'll have to see how the Steelers are able to supplement, obviously, as well. I mean, I don't want to say the depth is super thin, but you don't really have somebody of TJ Watt's caliber backing him up, per se. So it's going to be definitely a defensive group effort to try to make up for the loss and impact that he brings to the Steelers defense. But I mean, Pittsburgh came away with a big win yesterday. That defense looked really, really good. So while, you do lose TJ Watt, you have to feel really good about how your unit looked as a whole. And hopefully they can keep it together and keep the ship sailing while TJ Watt recovers. And then for Mac Jones, this is a tough one. Not a great day offensively for the New England Patriots. They mustered up 7 points in their 20-7 loss to the Miami Dolphins. And apparently, as was announced at the end of the game, because he was not made available to the media, Mac Jones apparently has suffered a back injury. He was seen by reporters going into the X-ray room there at Hard Rock Stadium to get looked at. And then, it was told to the reporters, he was not going to be available because of the injury being looked at. This is not good for New England. It'll be one of those things that we're just going to have to wait and see. It sounds like they're going to do more tests once the New England Patriots come back over to Foxborough and look at him some more. But the good thing is initial x-rays came back negative. They're going to do more tests, though, to double check and make sure. But this is definitely a rocky one. There's already a lot to be looked at and put under the microscope as far as New England's offense goes. And for the situation now to be, you may be missing Mac Jones, possibly. Again, depends on how serious the injury is. A back injury is a tricky one because if your back is bothering you, standing upright, being able to drive into your plant leg, being able to rotate, having a back issue, it affects everything else. And so, depending on how severe the issue ends up being, we might be looking at a potential few games of Mac Jones missing some time. Hopefully, that's not the case, but a tough ending to an otherwise tough afternoon, I guess you could say, for the New England Patriots. Obviously, you have Brian Hoyer as a backup quarterback, so the Patriots in a decent spot, QB2 wise, to be able to step up, and if need be, Mac Jones can take a few weeks off to kind of get himself right. Again, hopefully it's not anything serious, but definitely a crazy week of injuries to start the season so far. You're seeing some high-profile players go down for extended periods of time, or are dealing with something that may end up taking them away for some period of time. Crazy week one. We still got one more game tonight, and my power rankings are coming out tomorrow, so make sure you stick around for that. But that is my read and react for you guys. They're touching up on some of the big injury news. I appreciate you all for watching. I will see you guys next time. Have a good one.